All right, chatting the way into the issues that we're covering this morning. And just before we went on that tiny breather, we were at that point where Peter right here was talking about just waiting for the results. But then Peter,
let me tell you, if you go to a hospital and you are suffering from something, there is a reason the doctor will tell you to go for some lab tests, maybe get some scan, get a CT scan, get all those.
Yes.
The reason why he will tell you to do that, it is so that he may get to the root cause of your problem.
Yeah.
And what I have an issue with the media of today, you are dealing so much with why the symptoms you see, but you are not asking yourself and letting Kenyans know, how did we get here? Why do we have the system? Listen. The previous outgone government took subsidy that were loans, actually, from Rocco Consortium, very expensive. Today, I can tell you confidently that the government of Kenya is paying 100 billion shillings every month in the interest of the premium loans they have taken, not the actual loan. We are paying interest into the excess of 100 billion every month, because the only solution the previous government led by Uhuru would see, if there is a crisis, they rush to a Rocco bank, they get a loan that is very expensive, they come, they deal with that so-called problem. But what they were actually doing was actually push that problem, procrastinate the way to deal with it, until those problems have now emanated and come out in this government. And you have seen the government, the president deliberately the other day refusing to go and borrow money to pay salary, because Section 15(2)(c) of the Public Finance Management Act prohibits government from borrowing money to fund recurrency expenditures. The government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in the year 2021-2022, they have borrowed 161 billion to fund recurrency expenditure. These are some of the problems that have gotten this government where it is today. As much as the government has a responsibility to find a solution to move forward, the media has decided to become a problem instead of becoming part of the solution to this republic.
The media is not going to be part of the solution to the republic. Let me tell you, my brother.
Let me tell you, my brother. One of the biggest. Listen. The media does not have a role to oversight. Please take that. Listen. The media, the role of the media, the role of the media is in the republic. It is to inform, to mirror what is happening and be factual in it.
Exactly.
But you see,
the
media in Kenya has refused to be objective.
There is no role of the media to oversight.
It has decided to become an oversight and become the fourth part of an activist kind of a media. You as a media, can I tell you?
A civil society.
The media, I consider the media to be one of the most important tools in any developing democracy and a growing country. And why they are very important, it is because it is their duty and responsibility to inform Kenyans. Let me tell you, Kenyans will behave the way they behave because of the information they receive. Now, if the media refuses to be truthful and to be focused and objective in delivering the news and the information they are giving to the citizen, it means we are now misreading this country, because what you have almost successful in doing in the last few months, it is to tell Kenyans the government is not working. It is to tell Kenyans the government is not reducing the cost of living.
And the opposition
but I have not seen any investigative journalism that tells me how did we get here.
Pretty much. And that's
I think I like the way he's put it.
Fine, Cliff, and I do agree with you, gentlemen. But I want to ask you this question, Cliff, and I do understand whatever it is that you're saying. At no point, by the way, I'm going to speak for Lookup Media. At no one point has any of our stories come out and said that Ruto's Kenya Kwanza government has failed to reduce the cost of living. There is no story in the media.
Let me explain something.
Just hold on, because I want to put that question to you. There is no point, Cliff, that we have done a story that says that we have, as a government, failed to reduce the cost of
But
living.
you know him.
Hold on. Let me put this question to you. The simple fact that we're doing here is that we are asking questions that Kenya need to understand. Because when we see the government say that the cost of unga is come down, it is for us to go and ask the Kenyans, have you seen it?
Okay.
That's it. What is wrong with that role?
Can I come in? Let me come in. Again, my background is journalism, right?
Pretty much.
I'm a journalist, professional journalist.
Yes.
Here's what I'm saying, and here's what I want to tell you. The role of the media is not oversight. The role of the media is one, to inform, educate, entertain, right? In information, this particular information is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to be very well and thoroughly investigated when you give this information. But the moment you start being biased, you lose credibility as a media. And that is what I will have to tell you. You do not have to come out and say that the Kenya Kwanza administration is not performing. The only thing you need to do as a media is to angle the story. And the angle that you take is what advises the citizenry on how or where you stand as a media. There is a media I don't want to mention, but it is openly opposition, openly biased, even in the elections that were. All right? It didn't come out to say that we want to support this person, but the time that you give a certain candidate or the time that you give a certain faction, two, the angle that you take to report even the good news. All right? And three, your audience that you want to pull courtesy of the ratings. I will not accuse Lookuptv of doing the same, but I am saying I would love you not to go that route. That is what I'm saying. Because he who owns the media owns the mind. All right? And that is what has happened. And because of that commercialization of the media, every media house is running towards making that extra coin through what sells. But they forget that this other side is working. But the moment they have a blackout on what they are doing, then we are not communicating to the citizenry. Because the citizenry is dependent on this particular media to actually get information. And what are they consuming? They are consuming, one, maandamano. You put it the whole day. Donald Trump has been indicted. But you won't see that running the whole day on the screens. But for us, we air our dirty linen the whole day. That is the media. That is our media. And that is wrong. Are there no other good things happening? That is the question we are asking ourselves. And when we sit on this other side, and we see you doing that, and we are asking, do you think this other side is the only side that has people? Do you think that everyone is on this other side? Why don't you come and ask us who think different? The media doesn't want that. It wants to get that gory story so that it gets ratings. By extension, what are you doing? You are giving this information to the citizenry. And the citizenry, that is what it is consuming. And that is what it's thinking. Not all are sensitized. Not all are informed. They will pick it as is, as gospel truth. Finally, the media is supposed to be the mirror of the society. So what are you mirroring as a media currently? You are mirroring maandamano, you are mirroring violence. When I was here during elections, when I was doing my campaigns, I told you one thing. I will not use the word violence. Because the moment we keep saying that word, that is what will happen. But that is what the media is doing. Oh, there's violence in Mathare. Oh, there's violence in wherever. Oh, there's violence here. Oh, violence will... You even anticipate violence. And you want to cover violence. You want to actually promote violence. Like, I was seeing the media waiting and saying, people are gathering around. And there is no one gathering around. You want to create something that is negative to actually sell to the people. That is so wrong. But,
yes,
finally, and I'll say this final thing on media. Finally, when the media goes out to sell an agenda, please remember that one day the Constitution is going to be followed to the letter, and no politician will own the media. And when that time comes, you will see what true journalism is.
Pretty much. Peter, just to devil back to the right questions then, because this is a question then. I've got two questions around this entire conversation.
Yes.
That every time the Kenya Kwanza government has been asked about the cost of living, which, by the way, they are quite cognizant of as well. They are not saying that the cost of living is on high. They are saying it is quite high. But every time we ask this question, what is your plan around the cost of living? Let me tell you, things that stand out. Every time that we ask this question, we are told, oh, do not forget that we are in this situation because of the former government.
But
Two, what are the right questions then that we should be asking around the cost of unga, because the citizenry have these questions as well? I'm not the one asking these questions.
You know, I have seen the media, and as he has said,
yes,
that in everything the government is doing, the media is looking at the negative energy on about it. Because when we talk about the cost of living, specifically now the cost of unga, these media houses that are there today, they have deliberately refused to check that the government is distributing fertilizers to the North Rift major farmers. I was there, and if you want me to send you a video, I can send you a video of how beautiful those shambas are. But have you seen in the media going to look at when the farmers were promised fertilizer, one, did they receive? And when they received it, is it working for them? We have not seen you people fast track that process, because I remember the president vividly talking about it last year, and he said, we want to give out fertilizer so that by the time it rains, in 4 or 5 months, we will have bumper harvest starting to come in. And look, guys, it is not going to be magical. We will try and look. I feel insulted by the media, by the fact that the African Union, the Sub-Saharan Africa, they have said there is literally no maize everywhere, that the government is so much willing to purchase, but that maize is not anywhere to be found in Africa. If the government want to import maize from Brazil or South American countries, it is going to be the same cost as the same unga that we are buying today at a high cost, because the transportation of that maize from where it is will actually be factored into the cost of production, and it will not change. So government says we will not go to Brazil because going to Brazil, it will not make a difference in cost. We will go to Maputo. Maputo has said we don't have enough maize. Zambia has said the same. But the media keeps insisting on that shallow issue of the cost of living is high, but it is not addressing the actual issues that are surrounding it. Because when we say the cost of living is high, and we say the government is trying to get maize from other countries, we are saying the previous government failed to actually purchase maize and put it in the... Because I'll tell you, this is not the first time we are having the shortage of maize in this country. It is not the first time, neither is it the second.
In the world, even in the world.
But listen, it has not really affected the cost of unga, especially when we had shortage of maize during the Honorable Mwai Kibaki's time, we never felt the cost because NCPB had, number one, done every time we harvest in the country, just to let you know, we are always short of 720,000 metric tons of maize, even when we take all the harvest from all the Kenyan farmers. We always have that deficit. Now, the NCPB during Mwai Kibaki would go out, buy the 720,000 metric tons to cover the deficit, and then go ahead to buy more maize and put it. You remember there was a time we were affected by maize having infratoxin. Aflatoxin, that is. We did not feel the pinch because in the NCPB zeros, there were maize that the government would release to millers at a certain cost and maintain the cost of unga. Now, but these media, I mean, just because you are against the candidature of the Honorable William Ruto when he was a candidate, you also want to interrogate him and have him carry the mistakes of the previous government. Because as much as the Honorable William Ruto has promised, you have seen what Zambia has said. It is not, they said, we wish you people approached Azaria. We could have organized. Who could have approached them area if not the former government? But when we come and sit here, the government is not doing this. Look at the cost of unga. Instead of looking at where the cost of unga had gone down, you decided to get a rider on where the unga has not gone down. Because let me tell you, I saw a report in like 3-4 media stations in the morning before 10 a.m. Then I'm asking myself, the president said that the unga is going to be cheap from next week. And then you have a media in a supermarket at 8. Even the delivery truck has not even hit the supermarket, and you are now reporting that unga has not yet gone down. Please, I am really asking the media.
Plus what they do. Let me just come in before I forget. Plus what you do is this. Who are the people who claim the cost of living is really biting them? People who are low in terms of income, low income earners, right? Where do we find them? Where do we find them? In the slums, right? That's where they live. That's where in low cost areas, isn't it?
Yes.
Then the cost of unga goes down and it is taken to those particular places. But when the media does the spot check, it comes to Lavington. It comes to Kitsuru, Karen. Let me ask you, isn't it ironical that the people who are being sorted out, you are not going to check whether they've been sorted out? You are coming to the people who are not going to the streets.
Let me just wind up. Let me tell you. Why do you think that a shoe that is costing 2,000 shillings in Liverpool, move 400 meters and get to Moi Avenue. And you'll find the same shoe 5,000 at 5,000. No, let me finish.
Yes.
When you do your report on the cost of unga, there is a reason why a full Kenyaji chicken in Limuru will cost 1,400, and the same Kenyaji chicken in a restaurant in Karen will cost 6,000-7,000. So it calls you as a media to be objective.
Yes.
The idea of cheap unga is not for the so-called middle class and the who has. The idea of cheap unga by the government of Jubilee, it is first of all to get those people who are living at $1, who do not have that job. So that unga is basically taken.
That is the target audience.
Place. But I want to be challenged by the reports by the media who are reporting. I would see them, the supermarkets, they are reporting, they are here in Lavington, they are in Cullen, they are in town, they are everywhere. And what I'm saying is,
if I play our story, you will hear that the supermarkets being actually visited are not essentially in posh areas in this city.
Yes.
No, I'll beg we play it again. And I want you to cue that story, because now the conversation again goes back to, why is it that any other person with vested interest in the government, every other time we play our role? And by the way, the president has said that. He came out the other day. He said, in this particular democratic economy, you can't touch the media. You might even think that they're biased against us, but you can't go in and start questioning the reports that we place out. Because in every other story clip that we do as the media, we have the right to respond. Today, if you went to the Media Council of Kenya and said, I am tapped by one story that has run on Lookuptv, and files the same complaint at CA as well, guess what? We have the right to give you the details. Even the people that we interview and hide the faces in them, we will reveal them. So why is it that every time, hold on, Peter, why is it that every time we then ask the questions, do the job like we're doing it right now? Somebody comes in and says, come on. You see, I don't like that question because every time you start questioning a report by the media, then what it is that we're doing, we're introducing our feelings, our sentiments in a report that by the end of the day would be factual. The only problem that you would have with a report by the media on the cost of living is saying, Lookuptv ran a story yesterday about the cost of unga being around 180 shillings, but you go to this supermarket where they picked that story from, the cost of unga is 150 shillings. Why is it a problem when we are questioning the government in place to give us information? Is that not what it is, Peter?
You know, let me tell you.
Is that not what it is?
Let me tell you, and the president said it very clearly, and I've said it, that in this dispensation of democracy, we will not touch the media. But that goes as far as you are right to report what you want to report.
Whatever, even if it is
whatever
biased.
you want to, even if it's biased. But that does, listen, you know, I've heard you. That does not stop us from interrogating your objectiveness as a media. You know, I would have appreciated when you went to those supermarkets and you saw, the cost, because I know the cost is, there are even places where the cost is at 200 currently. I was in a supermarket yesterday and I found unga to be at 200. What I am saying is that on Monday, you will report that the unga is at 179, and that is a story of the past. The media has the responsibility to do what is called tracking. Whether, because you people have tweeted and retweeted the tweet by Hussein Mohammed, who is the head of communication. But I have challenged you on the language and the tenses used in that tweet. They are telling you what we have started yesterday on Monday is something that is continuous and it is going to gradually go down. But the media, instead of reporting that you know, even if you report in a biased way, just say we will continue to see whether he has said. But there is no rider in it. You just tell people. You just tell people. The president said next week. The head of communication, Hussein Mohammed, has said this, and we have gone to the supermarket. And we have seen this is what we full stop.
It is not essentially the facts that we're questioning, because Peter, again, and Cliff, you do know that very well, that we as the media also have our agencies that are also looking at how we're reporting these stories. It's not the very first time that some of our counterparts in this industry have been put on the spot. In fact, some of them have cases down to answer. Once we started running the stories that were deemed not to be factual. We as the media do know that in every story that I carry, I have to have the three sides of it. And what we received yesterday was one side from the government. So the only thing that we have to do is tally what the government is saying to whatever is happening on the ground. Got to have a victim in it, have the official voice, and what we are saying. Cliff, you do know that very well. So at the end of the day, when we are presenting facts, the only question we're asking is this: who is this who's coming back and saying, I do not like that story, because then I have a sentiment to it, I have an opinion to it? Because essentially, all the stories that the media is carrying are not opinions, Cliff. The media knows very well it's not an opinion. When I'm saying that I've gone to 6 supermarkets in Kangware and there is no unga that is at 160 shillings as of today, as was communicated by the government, maybe I'll come back again and check. It is a fact. It is not being biased. Because the same question that I have today is the same question that somebody from Kangware or Kibra or Limuru, where Peter comes from as well, is having. He's saying, I've heard the government is selling at 160. Why can I know? What story do you want me to do around that story, Cliff?
SIMBA.
Yes.
Some things are not supposed to be looked or interrogated in isolation. This is one of it.
Yes.
Okay? There are questions around it.
I've just been told we have 1 minute. Wow.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. We have 1 minute.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me just do this.
Yes.
Very fast. We can't do these stories in isolation. When we go in with very many other follow-up questions, which bring about the answers to factors that advise change of products on the shelves. Okay? So the questions that we would want to hear is that, when did you put this in the shelves? How long is it going to take for you to clear your stock? And then 3, have you got the new stock that is going to cost cheaper? If I was doing that story, those are the questions that I would ask on top of the 5 W's and H, right?
But you say that don't talk to a miller, Cliff.
No, I'm not talking to the miller. I'm talking to the owners of the supermarkets.
And that's what we did, Cliff, in that story.
And saying, like, is this stock from yesterday?
Yeah.
Or from the week before?
Yeah. Or have you received communication on when you are about to receive it? Yes.
Have you got the new stock?
That's it.
And then 3, when do we expect the changes?
But the report was quite clear.
But you know,
Peter, let me pick your final sentiments then.
Yes.
On exactly what would you like to see the media carry in as much as this whole story for the cost of living is concerned?
I would like to see the media, with honesty, being objective, because apparently when the president was actually saying the maize flour will be available this week,
yes.
I was with him. I was just next to his side. He said very clearly,
yes.
and I wish you can play his speech and clip. He said from next week,
yes,
that unga will start getting into your supermarket.
Yes.
If we were to interrogate that statement from a literature point of view, from a layman's language point of view, it is still something that is it's saying that week something will happen. But you people, you are already on the supermarkets very early on Monday. I mean, the president did not say that Monday you will receive, he said this week. And so, therefore, I would have expected we would be discussing this on Friday and asking ourselves that has this happened?
And please, we need to come back on Friday.
And we need to come back and say it.
Peter, I'll call you back on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Whether or not to carry this report is still a question that essentially we as the media practitioners have no say about. Because once we get information from official communication sources, the only thing that we have to do is interrogate. I'll ask you again, and we're going to play that story again as we end this particular broadcast this morning, on the story that Lookuptv carried yesterday on a spot check, not just in one area, by the way, and it was a wall-targeted spot check, cutting across all what you like to call the 3 levels within the economic levels within Kenya. Fine. If indeed we are allowed to ask questions, we will ask questions. Whether it's the right time to ask these questions or not, that is for not you and I to decide. It's essentially just you to decide. Guess what, gentlemen? Thank you very much for coming, Peter. I'll call you back again. Let's meet Monday and then ask the right questions. Isn't it? If
Thank you.
That's the time that we can ask.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It will be a week after that announcement then by the president, because it did it just a couple of days ago. So can we interrogate the cost of living? Whew. Good morning.
The cost of unga in the country has been a subject of debate in the political arena and the general public. Different people decrying the high cost of unga, which has been retailing for 200 shillings and above. A tweet by State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed on Monday gave the indication the prices had come down. Hussein tweeted, "Unga prices have started going down just as President William Ruto had assured Kenyans over the weekend. Prices have dropped to 159 and 160 shillings, depending on the millers. When the president assumed office last year, a 2 kg packet was retailing at approximately 230. End of quote. However, a spot check by Lookuptv shows that in major stores across the country, the prices of this basic commodity remains the same, ranging from 194 to 250, on the millers and the brand of the maize flour. The common brands of unga that Kenyans are used to still maintain a high price from when the president took power. And newer brands like the one pictured by the State House spokesperson seem to have a reduced price. A spot check revealed that 2 kgs of Pembe maize flour retails at 207, Jogo maize flour retails at 212, Ndovu maize flour retailing at 210, Soko retailing at 200.
Tuko sehemu inajulikana kama Lokodwarang. Jua imepiga kweli, kaunti ya Turkana. Na tumefika hapa kwa hisani ya Lotto Foundation. Nakumbuka madhumuni yetu hapa ni kuangalau kuleta afueni. Sasa hivi tunavyozungumza tumeleta hapa lita